Hi, I'm Carmen,
And I'm Steven, and this is Vienna Past and Present.
where we walk through the gilded and sometimes not so gilded halls of Vienna's history.
It's time for another Zeitgeist episode, and this week we have a mix for you, a mix of updates to previous episodes, that is. We've been doing this a little bit of time now. You know, here at Vienna Past and Present, we are proud to keep you informed about the important Austrian stories we've covered. So this time we have updates to Sexy Karl, the runaway nuns, and our now famous, disinterested, and barely informed Eurovision recaps. So let's dive right in.
Right, so first up is Sexy Karl. So he was our very first episode that we ever did. So we've got a little update for you. If you recall, Sexy Karl was basically a raging narcissist, right? And has a highly questionable legacy. And
Yeah.
was controversial then, is controversial now. And I think we also mentioned in that episode, there's a statue of, his name is actually Dr. Karl. We called him Sexy Karl as a bit of a joke because he was called the beautiful Karl, right? Back in his day, he was considered somehow handsome, even though he's a total asshole.
He was a Viennese mayor, yeah.
Viennese mayor, massive asshole for the most part. And, was one of the people that kind of increased the anti-Semitism in the city. So a precursor to...
Yeah, kind of fascist-ish, populist-ish, kind of a lot of different, proto things happening there.
Right, exactly. So early 20th century, I think he was mayor until 1910, 1911, something like that. And In any case, there is a statue to him that is along the ring. And... at the time, we kind of mentioned that that statue has also been controversial. It gets vandalized all the time. People are constantly putting graffiti on it.
Yeah.
Pouring paint over it. It's kind of this flashpoint for people protesting the fact that he's honored and the fact that a lot of people are very against it.
Statue politics, okay? It's all over the world.
Statue politics is a thing. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, there was this decision to restore the statue, and there was a long discussion, as you say, like statue politics, to figure out what to do with this thing. Do you get rid of it? Do you keep it? And anyway, the decision was made that it would stand, that they would replace it. Well, they would keep the statue, but they would redo it so that it stands at an angle of 3.5 degrees. So it's like kind of tilted.
Okay.
And so the statue has been removed. And in the past weeks or months, I guess, it's been in some kind of workshop in order to rework it so that it can stand at a tilt. And but recently it was vandalized while it was in a workshop to be restored. And so... even when it's out of the public view, people are going to great lengths to find this thing and deface it.
They tracked it down to vandalize it there, too.
Even when it's not in public, So I guess there's a lot of emotion around this thing. So yeah, even in the workshop, he got vandalized. And then there was a new update that I saw in the news just the other day. So I saw this headline, right, that it had been vandalized.
Okay.
And then, 2 or 3 days later, there was a new article that was like, oh, yeah, and now suddenly, surprisingly, the statue is back in its location along the ring, where it always was, but, with no notice.
Okay.
And nobody expected it to be back because it was supposed to come back at the end of summer. But, it's the beginning of June. And so it's, mysteriously back in its place, but still being worked on and under scaffolding. And I actually wanted to go by in the last couple of days to go check it out to see if it's actually there. And you know what I realized? I was at Pride this past Saturday, which goes along the ring. And so I definitely went past there, but I was in the middle of some kind of Pride parade, street party, alcohol-fueled disco party on the street.
Yeah.
And so I didn't pay attention to whether Sexy Karl was there or not. So I can neither confirm nor deny. I did walk past him, I realized afterwards, but didn't pay attention.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Your point that you made last time, or was it the time before, that I'm not paying attention to my surroundings, continues to be verified.
Oh, I have no memory of saying that, but you know what? It sounds like me, and I stand by it, okay?
Yes,
Okay.
You did accuse me of that.
If I can bully you, I will. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to contribute to this one. I just looked at a picture of the statue. By the looks of it, it's just kind of it wouldn't really jump out at you. It's not one like that I think if I were a tourist in the city that I would really remember. Compared to the plague spires that Vienna has, this one's pretty generic. But hey, if you happen to be in Vienna, maybe you'll notice it. There might be paint thrown on it. It might be leaning 3.5 degrees. Maybe maybe now it's going to be a little more remarkable.
I'm kind of wondering how much you
But yeah,
notice 3.5 degrees, right? I mean, that seems quite little.
great question.
I don't
Great
know how
question.
noticeable that is.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, there's probably a lot you can read into that too. Like, it's tilted for the people who know it's tilted, but then you're not gonna, because it just seems like for like whatever you do to this, some group is gonna get angry, perhaps justifiably. Okay, like how careful is that language I just gave you, right? But I'm just saying, like, there's a lot to this person. Statue politics.
It is statue
That's our
politics.
hashtag, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah. And this is a
yeah,
total, I mean,
interesting.
total tangent, total sideshow. But I was thinking, because I just listened to a podcast recently about Akhenaten, who was like an Egyptian pharaoh in whenever, way long ago. And apparently he was a total megalomaniac as well, and absolutely hated and changed the whole religion and moved the capital and did a bunch of stuff nobody liked. And then he was completely erased from the record afterwards. And they like deleted him from all lists of official pharaohs. All of his stuff was defaced and
Wow.
destroyed. And the only reason he's even known today is because this tranche of letters was found of his correspondence with other kings that had been like buried and lost somewhere, and then somehow it came to light. And that's like the only record anybody has of this guy, really. And so, based on that, they could kind of reconstruct who he was and what the legacy was. And I'm kind of like, I mean, maybe these people deserve to be forgotten. Isn't that sort of the biggest insult? You just never existed.
Kinda. Yeah. It's really
I mean, I
true.
know it's erasing history in some way, but like, did you deserve to be remembered? I don't know.
Yeah, no. I mean, there's a lot of good points to be made here. You know what I mean? And I worry that this is coming across as like pro sexy Carl or pro like let's keep every statue. I don't mean that. I just mean like there's like so many so many stories. I'm just imagining, right? This whole route of like, okay, it was removed because, yeah, rightfully. And then there are people who kind of like, well, let's not erase their history entirely, even if it's bad. Let's like present it in a new, updated light, which I kind of like that idea personally. I feel like isn't that happening around the world a little bit? Not to get into statue politics, but isn't it like you take a statue that used to be, a memorial to some like Soviet, victory slash atrocity slash like I'm just kind of making it up but not really, right? Then it goes to some museum where in context people will know about it, so it's like, yeah, it's still there, it's not erased. We don't have to just know about sexy Carl from like a couple letters, but I don't know. So but I mean, hey, easy for me to say, not even there, but yeah, that's what I'm gonna do, critique it.
Maybe the Egyptians did it right. They just got rid of the dude, pretended he didn't
Yeah,
exist, and moved on. But yeah,
hey, and maybe
anyway.
that helped, right? Like, anywho.
So anyway, that's the update on Sexy Carl. I guess he's back. I guess he's leaning. I'm not sure because I
But not
walked
in a
right,
noticeable way.
not in a
Okay,
noticeable
he's
way.
there. Yeah, a parade
And
can pass and not notice, but
exactly, I walked right
if
past
if you
and
know, you know where
didn't
to
pay
find them.
attention. So, what else have we got going on in Austria? I think there's an update to the nuns.
There's an update to the nuns. So
There's a lot of drama around the nuns, yeah? So, what's fill us in. What's going on with the nuns
yeah,
of Goldenstein?
yes. So where we left off, this would have been last year now. The Goldenstein nuns, they were allowed to return to their castle. We have an episode about this if you want an update, or you can do a quick Google about this one. They were allowed to return to their castle. People began helping them, almost 200 people in various ways, which I thought was kind of cool and like a lot of people. Like we left that on a very
That's a
positive
whole
note, I thought.
community, which is actually really nice, right? I mean, in theory.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I was able to kind of put together from a couple articles. So, several months later, at this point, they had some kind of falling out with their social media helpers. I think last we checked in, they had something like 100,000 followers. I checked it recently, that account has like 300,000, something like that. Anyway, that relationship with the social media people kind of spiraled. Their original Instagram account is now being called something else. Now it's called Church Fluencer. it isn't completely clear like when or really why it changed, except in like broad strokes here. The old Nuns of Goldenstein account is now that one. It's run by this same person who like the nuns now want to distance themselves from.
How do we feel about the name churchfluencer?
Yeah, does that like okay, it works in English. Does that work
I mean, it
in
just is
German?
English.
Or is this yeah, is this like meant for an international audience, I guess
I
then?
guess. I don't know. I mean, influencer is a word that's used in German too because there's just no other word for it.
Okay.
But
Okay.
churchfluencer, yeah, I don't know. He's trying to be too hip, too cool for school, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like you open up your social media to mindlessly scroll, right? Like my brain is running at 1%. Like I was scrolling past this and I'm like church fluencer. I was like, wow, I must have been in some weird mood where I followed that. I remember thinking that like a month or two ago. Then
Right? Because
returning,
it's not.
yeah, I'm
I
like,
mean, it's
why
not a
is
thing I
this in
would.
here? Yeah,
Yeah,
and it was
why I
like
would never.
not
It's not
yeah.
something I would follow normally, right? I
And I
mean,
did truly think, because it was like German language and some kind of church interior, I was like, oh, this is some like Goldenstein nun like follower suggestion, something like that. Anyway, so like I go in later when I'm trying to look for an update on this, and yes, I follow this person. I then had to scroll back and be like, wait, is this the same nun account? Like you have to scroll way, 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 way down. Then they have the interviews with the nuns kind of like months ago before they transitioned into like this something else generic fluencer thing. Anyway, so
but that
some
actually made it quite easy for us to identify. I think actually, right? Because like, what else could you possibly be following that was German language and had to do with the church? Like, I think I wouldn't have noticed it nearly as quickly that it was the same account because whatever, I have a bunch of random German things.
yeah, actually maybe. So I kind of wonder like who yeah, how much of that audience is just like people like me being like, "Huh?" and then just scrolling up. Right? But yeah, this account that used to be theirs, that is now sort of transitioned to something else, this account posted that the sisters had disappeared and that they had been taken to Rome maybe against their will.
Mm-hmm.
Then pictures of the sisters loving Rome, they were posted to their new Instagram, now called Real Nun and Goldenstein. Okay, classic social media move. You know, say like the real
Uh-huh.
something. Okay, so the sisters or their handlers are hip. Um,
Yep.
so there, the nuns, the real nuns, they swore off their previous fundraising, their social media account, saying they want nothing to do with it. They never signed off on any fundraising, which is kind of a little scandalous because there were like some GoFundMe's and stuff. Supposedly, there's a court case around the social media. There is a GoFundMe that's still active that I think is kind of unclear as to like yeah, is it like nuns or like religious causes or
Yeah, but it's
something?
really dodgy
Um,
too because there's no description at all, like what it's for. There's
yeah.
just a picture of
Mm-hmm.
the castle Goldenstein. So it's evoking
Oh,
that, but it's not giving you any description what it's for.
right.
So like already seems dodgy.
Yeah. So where does this leave the case? Well, it seems like they're still living in the castle. Question mark there. They got to take a trip to Rome. A special person was appointed to oversee their case by the Vatican. And we have like a pope who's a little bit newer and hipper, question mark, like, you know, like moving as popes seem to, like not darting here and there, as far as like politically and anyway, but maybe this pope is open to something. There was a statement to NPR. The person appointed to oversee them said, "We were on the verge of finalizing an agreement regarding the sisters' continued stay at Schloss Goldenstein. And since Tuesday, we've been unable to reach the sisters. There's fear that they're being deliberately kept away from me. We are deeply concerned about the sisters' well being." So it kind of made it seem like maybe there was this rogue trip to the Vatican without the church's knowledge. This to me kind of adds cred to the sisters, by the way. But then, Carmen, you found like an entire investigative series of podcasts about this, like by someone who actually traveled with the sisters to Rome. Okay, so this is the real inside knowledge that we're bringing you, okay, here on this show.
Yeah. I think this
Okay.
is
Carmen, you spent time in the
yes.
weeds.
I think this is the deepest research we've done on anything at this point.
Possibly.
So I did
Possibly.
get quite into this. And yeah, so I listened to a few episodes of the Dunkelkammer podcast, which is one of the bigger investigative journalism podcasts in Austria. It's fairly well known. And so they cover this whole drama very extensively. And apparently, I mean, I only found out from listening to the podcast that they were the ones who originally broke this story to the public at all, because one of the former students of the sisters contacted the podcast trying to get this, decision that they had to live in the old person's home reversed. So when this whole thing originated, right, the whole original scandal was that they
very early on.
Was that they escaped their old people's home and went back to their castle.
Yeah, their original joyride down the road.
Exactly.
Right. That's what started this whole scandal.
That's what started this all off. And so one of their helpers, who was a former student, contacted the Dunkelkammer podcast to have them kind of look into the story a bit more. And so, I mean, I only listened to a few episodes. They have a 10+ part series on this. I mean, they go deep, and they were there from the start, right? So they kind of broke it. And one of their people, their podcaster, went to Rome with the nuns. And so there's a whole episode about that I listened to.
Okay, so that's the people, or that's that's the trip that it sounds like this Vatican handler, was where are they? And then Churchfluencer account as well, the, now non-affiliated one. They had something too. I think.
So there's all this drama around it, and it's all very unclear and confusing. And I had seen some random headlines about it in the Austrian news over the past weeks, and I was super confused too, because I also saw these headlines about they've been kidnapped, nobody knows where they are, oh wait, now they're in Rome. Did they go without anybody's knowledge? And I was I don't even understand why nuns need approval to go to Rome, but okay, whatever.
Lots of questions.
So anyway, according to this podcast, the basic rundown is that no, the nuns did not go missing and they did not go rogue. The trip had apparently been long discussed, and the nuns had gotten repeated assurances that they could go to Rome. And they have multiple written statements from their provost, from various officials in the church saying that they could travel, or, well, actually it's not that they could travel, but that there's no restriction on them traveling, right? But there was some whole back and forth. There's some real drama queens in this whole or people on a power trip or something, because there was a whole back and forth, and the nuns apparently did intend to cancel their trip a few days before, because they had gotten some mixed messages about whether they were allowed to go or not, and then they thought okay, maybe we can't.
These
and
incredibly friendly, chill nuns.
I know, they're so sweet. They interview them in the podcast too. There's quite a lot of statements from them directly, and they're just super sweet ladies. And so they then kind of said okay, maybe we can't go because it's unclear, and they were not getting super clear statements. But then they did 3 or 4 days before the trip get official written statement from the spokesperson for their archdiocese or whatever, saying that there is no prohibition on them traveling to Rome. And so then they went.
Okay.
And so first of all, it seems like everybody knew about this. I mean, it seems like there was long discussions around it. The woman in the podcast also said that there had been discussions over weeks and months even about planning the trip and how to do it. So, the fact that people tried to portray it as nobody knew already seems not quite right. So anyway, they went to Rome. They had a nice time. They saw Pope Leo. They were very touched by it. And they have
there are social media pictures of them, loving Rome.
Yeah, they were having a good time, I think, living it up in Rome. And the podcast, the people from the podcast went with them. And their helpers were with them at all time. They were contactable the whole time. So, I don't know, these weird statements about them being kidnapped or missing don't really make a lot of sense. They were posting to Instagram. People knew.
Someone won't reply to your email. They're kidnapped.
They're immediately kidnapped, yeah.
What?
I'm going to do that next time when you're not available to record. I'm going to be Steven,
kidnapped. Right. I better hear...
Missing,
that's right.
Hasn't responded.
If I don't hear back in 20 minutes, missing person report.
Straight to Interpol. Yeah. So anyway, also they are back in their castle now. So they came back from Rome, and they were then allowed to go back to the castle. So they are living there. And apparently the Vatican, made some kind of statement to say that they could live in Goldenstein again, because that had been the original agreement, and there was a contract that they could live there.
How many times does that have to be confirmed? Okay, but all right.
It's got to come straight from the Pope, apparently.
Another yes. Yeah.
So they're back at the castle, and there are still some negotiations going on, apparently, about exactly how all of this is going to look going forward in terms of, like, as they get older and need assistance and more assistance and who's going to do what and who's responsible and whatever. But, like, the basic agreement that they can live there in perpetuity, basically until they die, like, has now been guaranteed. Which it was originally anyway. There was apparently a contract that already said that, but then it was violated, and, you know, the Pope had to get involved.
Yeah. And listen, like, I want to be like, okay, it's another happy ending for the nuns, but, like, last time it was a happy ending, and then there were these weird kidnapping rumors. You know what I mean? So now...
And then there's also...
I hope this is the happy ending or whatever.
I hope so too, but there's also this very weird side story or extra element. So you mentioned the fundraising and the GoFundMe, and that whole situation is... I don't even know what to make of it, really.
Yeah.
So...
We looked through some of that stuff together. And it... Like, we could recap it, but it would just sound like some kind of crazy talk. Like, none of the storylines really mesh, but somehow this is what happened, and there's, like, a water company and bug eating and stuff, right?
It's so bonkers. So there was this association that was founded to support the nuns, which in fact does not support them, but they claim to support them. And the CEO of a water beverage company is on the board. And we checked out their website, and it's just like the most bananas thing. It's like, it's just been vomited up by AI, their whole website. Like, it's just horrible.
It has superheroes. They just mention eating bugs for protein, but there's like no follow-up. And then it's like, buy our cans of water. Right? I mean, I think that's like an honest recap. And it sounds like a joke, but that's kind of what it is.
And then there's like a cartoon about how Jesus drank their water and rose from the dead or something.
Right. There's some nods to Christianity there for some reason. Like,
but like, in a way you would think would be quite offensive to anybody who actually believes.
Yeah.
Or is in any way associated with the church.
Right. Yeah. If I bought that water, I'd be kind of like, oh, I am supporting a church, kinda.
Yeah. No, it's super weird. Then they like have this association that they founded to support the nuns, and they're somehow associated with the guy who ran the Instagram account as well, this like church influencer guy. Yeah, and it seems like they really tried to just capitalize on the fact that that these nuns had a lot of followers, and they wanted basically to use this Instagram account as free product placement and marketing platform for their water. And there was one point where they even roped in one of the sisters to unwittingly promote their water. So they did a bunch of shady stuff, just trying to do product placement and free marketing based on the fact that lots of people were following this account now. So my advice is don't buy their water.
They need to get back to that castle, and they need to like stop opening the door. I don't know what.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So and like I mentioned, the GoFundMe is also dodgy. That's also connected to this association. There's no description. You don't know what it's for. They're raising 2,000 euros, but like for what? Nobody knows. Completely unclear. So what is really going on at the end of the day? My conclusion from the whole thing is it's somewhat unclear, but it seems like power games and a money grab. Initially, when the nuns were forced to move into this old person's home, the money that they had was taken by the provost. So I think their provost is a big part of this story. Basically some, man taking advantage of these very innocent older women, I think.
Right. That's kind of a good reminder because, he that person was sort of the weird villain-esque kind of character in the story until the water people showed up, and then I forgot about him. So, he was sort of another questionable character here.
New villains entered the story. But this guy is still sort of in the background. I don't really know what his deal is. But in any case, the nuns, they had money because they worked. They were teaching in this school their whole lives. And so they had saved up money. Mm-hmm. And all of that money was taken from them when they were forced to move. So that's already what is that about? And at the end of the day, Goldenstein Castle itself is worth something, right? It's this big castle, and it kind of seems to me like the provost wanted to get them out of there so that they could use the castle for something else, right? You could turn it into some kind of commercial enterprise, and if you've got 3 nuns living there until they die, well, it's going to take a while. And I don't know, that's my suspicion, is that he kind of wanted to find some reason to get them out of there so they could do something else with this castle.
Okay. Well...
So basically a money grab, property story. And so it's kind of unclear what the connection is between this provost and the social media guy, but like there's some shenanigans going on. And most of it points toward greed, power, and just a lot of drama.
Yeah. Or just a lot of people kind of not looking at the whole story, maybe, including us, right? But really being like, and kind of in those gaps, there's like people kind of go in to create things that might not be related, and you know, hoping that people don't look too deep, and yeah, maybe one of those stories. And I guess the good news is that they're back in the castle. They're not in trouble with anybody? Question mark. Like it seems like they've navigated this again?
Yeah,
this latest drama?
Like it's kind of resolved, at least that they're back in the castle where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know if they're still... I mean, my question mark around it would still be what happened to their money and are they getting it back? Because that seems like it should happen probably.
But you said you have a couple episodes of the podcast left. Okay, so, you know, you do that research, right? I'll just... Mm-hmm. But see, I can do that. Anything German language, I can just be like, okay, you do it. Bye. All right. So, yeah.
Convenient, yeah. But anyway, I think, you know, it's like some very innocent old people who are very vulnerable to exploitation. And I think basically they got exploited. And also, but, you know, to their credit, I have to say that they somehow seem to have managed this whole social media storm and all the craziness, like with aplomb. I mean... You know, they kind of just distanced themselves from it. And at least recently it hasn't been in the headlines. So hopefully it's settled down.
Well, I'm sure more will happen. Okay. So we will probably revisit it. So yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
But anyway, people like drama, right?
Uh-huh. So we're going to keep ramping up the drama as this episode goes. Next, we are peaking with a Eurovision recap. Speaking of Vienna not having any money, haven't we mentioned that kind of in recent episodes? Vienna just hosted Eurovision just a couple weeks ago at a cost of 36 million. So I don't think that's super cheap for a city. We released it.
Not super cheap, no.
Yeah. And I will say, we will release this Eurovision recap episode at a speed that matches our excitement, our interest in this event. So, like, barely responsive. Right. We took our time. If any...
This happened, like, over a month ago. And by the time this actually comes out, it's going to be another couple of weeks.
The minute they see the title of this, anybody in Eurovision should know. Okay. But yeah, so if any...
I mean, I will say, I had an ex-colleague of mine who I met up for drinks right around Eurovision. Ask me if we were going to do an episode about it. And I was like, I don't know. And then he was like, he said something about, you know what, you guys are not even haters. You guys are so uninformed. You can't even hate. I was like, it's kind of true.
How rude. And yeah, I have no response.
It's like, to be a hater, you have to know something about it. And I was like, yeah, well, fair.
Right. So for the 2 or 3 Eurovision fans who kept listening after our last recap episode, you were warned. Here's this one. So was Eurovision thankful to Austria for hosting? I'm going to give you my view. Like, let's see here. Austria went from first last year to second to last this year. Only earned 6 points. For reference, Bulgaria won this year with 516 points. So there's your answer. No gratitude. Carmen...
and let's be clear, the one thing I somehow know about Eurovision is that Britain always loses. And so second to last is pretty much the worst you can do, because Britain has locked in the last spot, like, for the last 40 years or something.
Love that. Okay, now, all right, that's like a little plus for Eurovision. That's kind of fun, like, little beef that they have there. And yeah, Carmen, so... You know, like me, as one of the least interested, least qualified Eurovision critics in media today, what was your experience as a Viennese citizen during this global phenomenon taking place all around you? again, Eurovision fans, just cover your ears. Like you should be running to your phones, jamming buttons just to stop this podcast. Waiting for that. Okay, go, Carmen.
Right. What did I even notice?
Yeah.
I mean, not a lot, to be honest.
Really?
I was so checked out of this year.
Weren't there
Yeah.
like Eurovision cafes, like official? There's a whole.
I mean, you told me that. This is how informed I was.
From like
But
an ocean, a continent away, I was telling you this stuff.
Yeah. I did then see one of these cafes.
Okay.
So after you told me about it, I did see one, and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, I didn't go inside. It just had Eurovision like paraphernalia hung on the door. So I saw that. I didn't watch any of the, what are they called? Not pre-shows, like semi-finales
What
or
are
whatever.
they called?
I don't even know what
I'm just gonna let that
I don't
hang.
know what it's called.
Okay, what's it called? Like a red carpet thing?
No, there's like not pre-shows. There's like qualifying.
Oh,
I don't know. There's something
like the
where
opening
some countries get
rounds.
eliminated. Yeah, exactly. Because it's like,
Yeah,
I don't
there's
know,
probably an
takes place
official
over a
word
whole
for
week
that.
or
People are
something.
screaming. Okay, the
I know.
the few people who kept listening, it's off now. Okay, it's just us. All right, don't worry.
I will say that my cousin kind of, held up she's holding up the whole family because they went to one of the tapings or like pre-shows or whatever these shows are called. So she went to one of them like live in the Stadthalle.
Okay.
And I mean, apparently it was very cool to be there, and I'm sure it is because, the energy I'm sure is great. And the whole stage design is like really
It
amazing.
does look over the top.
And they're
yeah.
and when you're there in person, I mean, she showed me some photos and videos that she took from there. You can see all the stuff that's happening on stage to like move shit around that's not on TV.
And they just
right?
like keep lighting pianos on fire and stuff like that. Don't they do that? So they just have like a pile in back, I would imagine.
Yeah, there are a lot of pyrotechnics. So long story short, I did see the final at my cousin's house actually. So we watched it together.
It's a huge step for
I saw the
you
final,
and this podcast.
And Bulgaria won, which seemed fine. It's their first time winning, so good for them.
Okay, but you didn't like cry or scream or anything like it. But you did witness it.
Mean,
okay, your eyes remained open.
It.
Okay, we have to start somewhere. Okay.
I was awake. I witnessed it. I was happy for Bulgaria.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it was, it was fine.
Wow.
That's what I can say about it. And aside from that, I really didn't notice any of it. All the festivities were taking place at the city hall, the Rathaus, but that's a part of the city that I never come through unless I'm like really, have some reason to go to the city hall. There are lots of festivals and stuff there, so I mean, occasionally I'll go, but it's not a place I just randomly come by.
Okay.
So I missed the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah. All I know is that on one of the first nights, there was like really bad weather. I just saw this in the news as well. And so they had to cancel the whole event in front of the city hall like 30 minutes before it was supposed to happen because there was like thunderstorms coming in and it was too dangerous. So I guess some people
bummer
maybe were
for
upset about that.
those,
Yeah.
I don't know, tens of thousands of people. Like that's kind of what it looks like from the pictures.
It is. It's a lot of people. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. People got very into it, just not me so much.
Okay.
But, yeah. So anyway, long story short, Austria went to second to last place. Oops.
Oh, well,
That's
listen,
that.
you know what? We're sending you to Bulgaria next year for, round the clock coverage. Okay.
Oh, great.
So we should start
okay.
our account now, Eurovision Fluencer. Okay. And we're going to start a GoFundMe. All right. Guys.
With no information, just fund
we don't
us
need
to do
any
something
information.
in Bulgaria.
Okay. Like, let's do this Austria style. Okay. We're going to get that. Okay.
And we're going to get like,
I'll find some nuns and I'll like throw a script at them and, be like, hey, do this. Okay. We can work it out.
all right. And some kind of grifter in the background to, round it all out.
Oh my God. Hey, so we made it through that, okay? We made it through that Eurovision recap, and it did ultimately turn,
I wonder if anyone else did.
Oh, no. Like I said, we're alone. We've been alone
just
here
us.
for 5 minutes. Good. Yeah.
Anyway, the only other thing that I want to say on this front is that through the whole Eurovision thing, I mean, obviously my Instagram algorithm immediately went full Eurovision, even though I clearly don't know anything about it. But I have now discovered the Bussi Blah Blah podcast with Conchita Wurst and JJ.
Star-studded previous Austrian winners only, right?
Yes. And so another callback to one of our episodes, because we did one on Conchita Wurst.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they have this podcast together that's called Bussi Blah Blah, which I just love as a name because Bussi Baba is something that Austrians say to say goodbye. Mm-hmm. Bussi means like kiss, mm-hmm. like besos in French. And so Bussi Blah Blah just is inspired.
And that has, each of those words has English meanings too, okay? And, yes, so it works on a lot of levels.
Works on every level,
and this is German language, or this is kind of like mixed German and English?
It's very Denglish, I would say. Yeah, it's like they do use a lot of. I mean, it's primarily German, yes, but then they're mixing in a lot of English.
So I did watch just some videos of it, and I feel like they have kind of chemistry and a rapport. So it seems like a funny, or like a fun sort of vibe.
Yeah, they seem to get along really well.
Again, like just watch Conchita, just keep milking this, okay? And doesn't even go by Conchita anymore?
No, not really. I think he's, on the podcast, he's just Tom.
Okay.
Like his normal name.
Okay, but...
Although I think he shows up as Conchita every now and then.
Okay.
It's a stage persona.
Okay. Yeah, wow. So many threads we've connected. Yeah. Giving you these important updates.
Exactly. So that's my state on Eurovision. I feel like I'm marginally more informed, maybe, than I was before, but I'm not much more interested.
Yeah, and listen, you know what? You have a lot of just cold, totally emotionless facts about Eurovision, just like I do. Okay, I don't feel the magic. I don't feel the magic yet. But
was it something that was in the news in the US at all? Like, did you get any info about it?
Yeah, but sort of in that, like, human interest way where it's like, oh, Eurovision is starting. Oh my gosh, it's a huge event. Did you know that? Like, that's kind of the US coverage, right? Or the US coverage would be like, oh my gosh, there is this crazy kind of political angle where, like, the Israel angle, right? Which was complicated, it sounds like, this year.
Is complicated. I mean, yes, there was a lot of protests about them even being allowed to participate, as there always is, and they got second place, as they did last year as well. And there's a lot of allegations that seem to be quite well-founded that they like buy votes and do kind of weird shit, and I don't know who knows what they're up to. But anyway, they get booed every time. Like, nobody in the audience is rooting for this, and somehow they always get second place, and they're like trying very hard to get first place. And if they actually had won, I mean, it's like kind of a big question what would happen then, because like nobody's going to Israel, like not happening, and then what do you do with it?
Oh, right. Okay, so that's sort of the US coverage. It'll be just like, look at this thing happening, okay, and then like there's not like a who do you love more, like that's just not a part of the article. Right. Okay, yeah. Well,
what about the World Cup now? Is that big news? That's pretty big news here.
It's taking place in Seattle.
Oh, is it? Are you going?
No, because the tickets are
Aren't
crazy.
The tickets like $8 million?
Kind of. Yeah. It's like, a starting ticket to see, like Egypt versus, Uruguay. Like, and hey, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just like no emotional or any kind of experiential like connection to any of these places, and that will be like $400 for the worst seat, or then like the best ones will start at like $2,500. So I just feel like it's kind of for people who are traveling here to see the games. And I mean, hey, again, like professional sports here is crazy too, but it's like at least we sort of know it, right? So I wonder how it's gonna do, with how it's currently set up.
I'm curious too, because it's not like the economy is in great shape in most of the world. And like the cost is insane. Who is paying this?
Yeah,
I don't understand. It's such a cash grab.
Yeah, and the sense, at least in Seattle, like I think there's just a ton of different stories, right? Because like this is also, there are games in Mexico, there are games like all over the US. Here we have the stadium space. we just had a bunch of transit that opened up recently, like new connections and kind of new lines. So it's like the sense was that, oh, we could just do it, without any major change in our routine or new building project or something. So there's not, resentment really that I'm sensing. It's just more like, like people are kind of like, wait, where's it going to be? Not really, because I just don't know anyone going. Or there are people, it'll be like people with Mexican heritage, Mexican expats who live here. They are into the Mexico games, but I don't think those took place here, right? And they're already taking place somewhere else. So it's like by the time it gets to Seattle, I guess maybe those teams will still be in, but I think it'll depend like that. It'll be like, oh, are there any North American teams still in it? Or maybe people who follow professional soccer will like know some names if like England is I just think it's that we're like further enough, kind of down that bracket experience. But yeah, I don't really know. I just know it's like happening. Oh, I think in 2 days there's a game. I thought the 16th was like the date, but
no, they're happening already. There's been a few games.
Oh yeah, they're happening, but I mean here, like by the time it starts here. Oh. So
okay, so it's coming up.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, maybe it's going to be like a Eurovision thing, It's like, oh, it's down near the stadium district, which it's kind of similar thing. Like I don't not go there, but I don't go there every week or even every month. So
not a place you pass through regularly.
Really?
Right?
Or you just would on the train, but you don't get off. So
yeah. It's kind of an interesting one here as well, because the World Cup normally is a big deal. And Austria actually made it this year.
Okay.
Which is the first time I think Austria's ever made it without being a host country.
Oh.
So, they actually qualified. Their first game is against Argentina, so I'll give you one guess how that's going to go.
Yeah, I'm going to light a candle. Okay.
Yes.
Maybe the entire team
your morning
slips and
attire.
Falls. Right.
But I have to say, I kind of love Austria. I mean, I don't follow football or soccer. Like, it's another thing that I'm not very interested in. We should add this to our coverage then.
Okay.
But I will say, like 2 years ago for the Euro Cups, Austria did pretty well, and they actually won against the Netherlands.
Oh, that sounds big.
Game, which is big. I mean, it's huge. I mean, it is. I like Austrian football fandom because we just always expect to lose. And then when we actually win, it's like the biggest excitement. Everybody is like so overjoyed. And then when you lose again, you're like, oh, things are back to normal. It's like nobody's
Sounds
upset.
Better to me.
It's just how it is.
Right.
It's like, it's nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Fewer overturned
but
cars.
This year,
yeah.
Exactly. There's no rioting. It's just like, yeah, that's how it should be. But this year it's a bit of a strange one too because of the time difference. Half of these games are taking place at like 2:00 in the morning here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to the American experience, right? Like typical for World Cup would be like, oh, is there one on? They're like, yes, 6 a.m. at this bar.
Yeah.
You're kind of like,
how
serious
so a lot
are
of
you?
the places that normally always show these things like are not doing it this time around because they're just like, look, we're not showing games at 4:00 in the morning. Like it doesn't make any sense. And so I think there's a bit less of a World Cup excitement this year here as well because the games just aren't being shown.
That makes sense. Well, we will add a recap at some point, right? Next Zeitgeist. In a couple months, we're going to tell you how the World Cup ended up, okay?
Based on another thing that we know nothing about, yeah.
No rush.
Very marginally interested in. Okay, well, good. I think that's it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for our show then. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, share with your friends or leave us a 5-star review. And if you didn't like it then, don't worry about that review.
Exactly. You can find us on social medias, Vienna Past and Prez on Instagram, or send us your episode ideas at viennapastandpresent@gmail.com.
Auf Wiedersehen, pfiat euch, Baba.
Bye.